Welcome back. A pharmaceutical company has now released a new paediatric formula to help stop children from contracting tuberculosis. It's estimated around 2.5 million children need to take medications to protect them against TB every year, either because they are living with HIV or because someone in their home has tuberculosis. Makaita Gombe is the Senior Manager and Market Access Lead at the Newzroom Institute. Makaita, good afternoon to you. So at the moment, if you need to protect a child against tuberculosis, you basically have to take the adult pill, you have to crush it, you have to cut it up, then you have to ask the child to take the thing. How is this new formula different?
So the new formulation is dispersible in water. So you would take the same tablet, put it in water, and then it dissolves in water, and then you take the other formulation and you put it in water as well. It is raspberry flavored, and then the child can drink it. So you don't have the complexity of having to crush it, put it in food, and then the child doesn't finish that food and they get underdosed.
So in other words, it's much easier to take, much easier to convince the child to take.
Yes, it should be.
You say it's raspberry flavored. Does it really taste like raspberry?
It does really taste like raspberry. I think the other complexities might be the next time a child eats something else that's raspberry flavored, they'll think it's medication, but it is raspberry flavored.
Okay. Do you believe it'll mean that more children will actually take the medicine? We've all tried to get a child to have a pill. It can be very difficult. To try and protect a child from tuberculosis is incredibly important. You get XDR or multi-drug resistant tuberculosis as a young child. It's a long, long road to cure you. How important is this?
So this is very important because currently they have to take the medicine that's currently available is they take it every day for 6 months that they can drink, but it is about 180 doses. And then the other alternative is also every day for 3 months, which is again 90 doses. But this particular one that has this new formulation is taken once a week for 3 months. So it is only 12 doses and it is easier to take. So we expect that children will be able to finish this because it is only 12 doses. And the parents also don't have to go through lengthy processes of trying to get their children to take medicines, but only 12.
And how many children are vulnerable to tuberculosis? I mean, how many children do we actually need to protect from the disease?
So globally, it is the number that you mentioned, about 2.5 million across many TB high-burden countries. And this is either, yes, the ones who live with somebody who has been diagnosed with TB or children living with HIV who need additional protection from a lot of other diseases.
How expensive is this formula compared to the other formula?
So this one actually comes in much cheaper for two reasons. The price per pill, for the first time, we don't have to pay additional amount to get a tablet that is soluble in water. Before, that was the case for TB medicines, but this one is much cheaper. And because it is only 12 doses versus 90 or 180, it is also cheaper on a quantity perspective. So you can get it depending on how the weight of the child, between $6.53 and about $15.80 per child that needs to be protected, where some of the other formulations are at least double that amount.
And when you use the protection, how long does it actually last for? I mean, does it protect the child for a very long time?
Yes, it does protect the child for a very long time. And because we assume that in high-burden settings, a lot of children would have inhaled TB and it will otherwise be sitting somewhere within their body, what this medication does is it eradicates that infection. If, however, that child at a later time again gets exposed to TB, then they would need to take that medicine again. But if that first reservoir is eradicated, then they shouldn't need to repeat dose.
Makaita, I don't need to tell you this. In some cases, we have as high a TB burden as we've seen in history. I mean, about 10 years ago, there was a study of people in the Pollsmoor prison in Cape Town, and the percentage of prisoners with tuberculosis was the same as it was in prisons in Cape Town 100 years before that. And it's an astonishing figure. If we are doing more research, finding it easier to protect people from tuberculosis, is it going to be possible to actually dramatically reduce the number of people who have it?
Absolutely. It's interesting that you actually mentioned the people in prisons, because that is also a population that is targeted with medicine. Maybe not so much this one that they can drink, but for the adults, there is a formulation for them as well that they can take either for 28 days every day, or the same one 3 months once a week, and they should be able to also eradicate that reservoir. So if there is some way of programming for people that we know are at highest risk, either when you enter prison, you get the TB preventive therapy, or if you've been there for a while, you get the TB preventive therapy and actually cut that transmission rate from TB infection to TB disease, then we should be able to eradicate it. But at the same time, there are people who already have it, also putting in effort to find the people who have TB, putting them on treatment, and then from as little as 2 weeks after treatment, they're no longer infectious.
Makaita Gombe, thank you. Senior Manager and Market Access Lead at the Aurum Institute. Do appreciate the time.